guys, it's Cupcake Kami-sama back here and welcome to another video. Today I'd like to give you some of my tips on how to incorporate various colours into your Lolita wardrobe. When you look up advice for beginner Lolitas, it's generally agreed on that you should stick with a limited colour palette whilst you're beginning because it will make it easier to create a variety of different coordinates. And because we all already know the struggles of trying to match just one colour, my own wardrobe is predominantly tricolour in that majority of my pieces are either white, blue or red in various shades. It didn't happen like this by design. It was mostly pure coincidence that the pieces I liked most were in those colours. It didn't start off being perfectly tricolour. I had a yellow main piece and a black one. Yeah. But once I realised that these were the colours I was gravitating towards, I kind of made a more conscious effort of sticking with those three, because then I knew that any builder piece or accessory that I'd get to work with one of these pieces would likely work with the other ones. But as you can gather, at least by the fact that I'm wearing green right now, as well as if you've ever seen my wardrobe spreadsheet or my wardrobe post or just coordinates in general, you'll know that I wear these days a variety of different colours. So I'd like to give you some of my own advice based on my experience on how to go from this is my little niche of colours to I'm going to include them ones as well. But before we get on to that, if you aren't subscribed already, then I suggest you click that button as well as the bell button next to it, because my uploading schedule isn't necessarily the most regular. So if you don't want to miss when I upload something, make sure to do just that. One of the easiest things you can do when expanding your wardrobe with more colours is to try to stick to similar ones but in different shades or tones. What I mean by this is if your wardrobe is predominantly red, then adding pink to it won't be such a far-fetched step because pink is just a shade of red. Similarly, if your wardrobe is predominantly sax blue, then adding pieces that are royal blue or navy won't be quite as taxing because, again, these are the same colours, just different shades of them. What you can also do is, if your wardrobe is predominantly a particular shade / type of colour, for example, if you're a sweet Lolita and all your pieces are pastel, then expanding that with other pastel colours would ensure that whatever you get works with at least majority of the rest of the things that you have. Or if your wardrobe is mostly jewel tones, then adding another jewel tone to that won't force you to stretch yourself too far. That's because by being similar shades, you probably already have pieces that work with the new one that you're trying to get, and you can incorporate it and wear it straight away instead of being in that position of, I now got this one thing that's an obvious outlier and I need to get tons of things just for that outlier. Not that there's anything wrong with that, and we'll get to it later, but if you're trying to maximize wear with minimum purchases, that's one way of doing that. In a similar vein to this tip, there is absolutely nothing wrong with sticking with neutrals for the time being whilst you add a new colour. Generally speaking, when we talk about Lolita fashion substyles, we say that for goths, black is your base neutral. For sweet Lolitas, it's white, and for classic, it's ivory. So as long as you're sticking within one substyle already, you should have plenty of supporting pieces in those base colours. You should have already a couple of blouses, some legwear, maybe shoes, some accessories like jewellery and headpieces. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with using those with the new colour that you're adding. Not only because those are, as the name suggests, your neutral base, and it makes your life easier by allowing you to coordinate that new color with white or with black or with ivory, but also because you can still have variation and chords while sticking to a limited color palette. Now, hopefully this is something that you've already realized with the color palette you were working with to begin with, and you've learned that by pairing the same dress with different white blouses in different cuts, you'd achieve different looks. As long as you have spent the time, the energy and the money to invest in a variety of builder pieces, when adding a new color to your wardrobe in the form of a dress, you at least have some things that will work with it. Moreover, depending on what color you add to your wardrobe as that new addition, it may turn out that it's something that's quite tricky to find things to match with. This could be either because you decided to go with a color that's somewhat uncommon, for example, orange. Not that I'm shading all the Lolitas who love Halloween. I'm just saying there aren't as many pieces in orange as there will be in other colors. Or because the new color that you're adding is known for having so many different shades that are tricky to match, like lavender. Again, not shading anyone who goes with lavender. You get my point. Having a neutral base will make your life easier and will allow you to wear the new color quicker, and will also give you a little bit more time both to acquire new supporting pieces in that new color and to decide whether that is a color that you do want to stick with. Just because you've added it now doesn't mean that you have to like it. It's perfectly fine to try it, realize you don't like it, and sell it on. One thing that I've done fairly early on when building my Lolita wardrobe was realize the need for builder pieces. And you can add color to your wardrobe by creating builder piece sets. In those really early days, what I had was a spreadsheet. Of course, I love a spreadsheet. That listed every main piece that I have and all the colors I could think of that I could coordinate with that main piece. In those early days, majority of my pieces were printed, so inevitably those were colors that were within the print. It allowed me to see which secondary colors were the most common in my wardrobe and work towards creating a builder piece set in that particular color. When I say a builder piece set, I mean a blouse, some legwear, a hair accessory, and shoes if you can. I realize that shoes can be somewhat trickier, although there are plenty of Chinese brands these days that will give you any kind of shoe that you want. But also, they take up considerably more space than the other ones. So if you can, it's great if you can include shoes in that. But if you have at least a blouse, some legwear and a hair accessory in a colour as a set, that's good enough. What having such a builder piece set does is it allows you to add a new colour that not only will already work with the things you have, but also that will allow you to wear that new colour with a couple of main pieces versus adding a new dress that's in that new colour that you then have to get builder pieces for. For example, the oldest 3 dresses that I have right now, oldest by when I purchased them, are respectively a bright sax blue, red with white polka dots, and ivory with a whole host of colours in the print. Between them, I knew that pink could be a colour that would coordinate well. So by getting pink blouse, pink legwear, pink hair accessory and pink shoes, I would have a base that I don't need to change, and by changing main piece, I was able to have a different coordinate. Moreover, as I added new main pieces, a lot of them would also work with pink, which meant that investing in those 4 items stretched a lot further and meant that I could still have a coordinate with pink without having to own a pink dress. Furthermore, if you're on a budget, investing in a builder piece set in your new colour is likely going to be cheaper because not everything has to be brand and not everything has to be major. Depending on your style and what things you like, you could easily get a set that consists of a beret, very easy to then customize with hair clips and other colors, a pair of solid tights. Both of these you could get from anywhere, from your local supermarket to high street shops to eBay to AliExpress, wherever. It will never set you back more than £5 to £8, depending on your shopping preferences. Probably more if you want to be supporting more responsible and ethical brands, but it's still not a major investment. That leaves you with the blouse, which depending on your size needs and your style needs, as well as the color, you might be able to find cheaply secondhand, or you might be able to find it inexpensively from a Chinese brand on Taobao, or even if you have to order a custom one from an independent brand, because blouses can be worn with multiple coordinates, even a one-off expenditure of, let's say, $60, which I think is roughly the price of a glittered tail blouse. Once you break it down per wear, the more you wear it, the cheaper it works out for you, and as I said, it will work with multiple coordinates. And then if you decide not to go with shoes, that's a bit of an extra saving. But if you do, again, there's plenty of Chinese brands that produce good shoes inexpensively. Or if you're, for example, more into gothic or classic, you may be able to find second-hand off-brand shoes. Depending on what colour is it that you're after and how easy it is to find, getting a set of 4 builder pieces in that one colour might be a cheaper way of expanding your wardrobe. And this links to the last advice that I have, which is be conscious of versatility. It's perfectly okay to have your core wardrobe be this color scheme and have one piece that's an obvious outlier. Nothing wrong with that. As long as you remember that this outlier will require that you purchase pieces specifically for it, and then do make that investment. Again, I'm very much aware that this might seem like a call out to some Lolitas out there, but unless you are a collector and have bought that outlier purely to look at it as a piece of art, if you want to wear it, you have to invest in things to wear it with. Don't deprive yourself of opportunities to wear it by not doing that. Especially not in this day and age where, with a little bit of patience and perseverance in saving up, as I mentioned earlier, you can create a nice base set without having to spend an extortionate amount of money. Not every coordinate that you put together has to be the dream coordinate, the OTT tea party one that will be your crowning glory. That's another lesson, incidentally, that I've had to learn kind of the hard way. Wearing your dream dresses in less than dream coordinates doesn't devalue the dream dress. In fact, wearing your dream dress is what makes you happy. This was a dream dress for me. I have my big fancy dream ideal coordinate for it. Doesn't mean that wearing this makes me any less happy. It's still my dream dress. So yeah, it's perfectly okay to have an outlier, but you have to be prepared and willing to invest in the pieces that will go specifically with that. Equally, if you're someone like me who values versatility and isn't quite in a position with their wardrobe yet to be able to just add anything and for that to work, then be more conscious of what you add to your wardrobe. I'm a big fan of the 3 coordinates rule, in that before I buy something, I try to mentally create at least 3 coordinates with that piece that are distinctly different from each other, so that I know that if I buy that, I have several ways of wearing that piece straight away. The approach that prioritizes versatility will require a bit more exercising your strong will and resisting impulse buys, but it does pay off in the long run, in that you will have a wardrobe that is much more cohesive And once you do finally add a new colour to your collection, you'll be able to incorporate it not just in one way but in several. These tips are things that you can by all means combine. Seeing as they're from my experience, you can probably gather that that's how I've done things. I've combined those approaches. However, you can easily pick and mix the tips that work for you, for your style, for your budget, for your needs, and apply them and expand your wardrobe with colours that way. And on that note, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope that some of these tips were useful for you. Whether you're a Lolita who likes to stick to one specific colour palette or who likes to expand and go full rainbow with everything, I'd love to hear more about your approach and how you've gone about that. Was it something that happened organically or something that you've consciously thought about and executed a plan, so to speak? Definitely would love to hear about that. As always, I encourage all of you to like this video, comment on it, subscribe to the channel. My aim is to make at least one video a month, and for as long as lockdown continues, I will probably be able to up that to 2 a month. So as I mentioned at the beginning, make sure to subscribe and click the bell button to be notified once I do upload. If you'd like to encourage me to continue doing that, you now have 2 ways of doing so. You can either buy me a cup of coffee for a one-off bit of support, or you can join my Patreon where there are several tiers available, and however big or small of a tier you choose will still encourage me to give it my best and to keep pushing out content. Links for both my coffee and my Patreon are in the description box below. And as always, I encourage all of you to check out my blog, which is Cupcakes and Unicorns, where you'll find more Lolita content. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye!